Welcome everyone to the second episode of the history of a Vanzig planet. Last episode we saw a lot of stuff happen, but it only happened in 11 minutes, which was probably way too quick. And I know, my bad, but I want you to know that this episode will be much slower paced and have a lot less events happening. As you can see, I have also done a lot of stuff. I have added new major cities, names for every country. I have finally updated capitals, which I totally forgot to do last video. And that's about it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And with that, let's get on with the video. So our first event will be taking place in Zoo. Last video, Zoo didn't do anything. They didn't have any breakaways, they didn't have any wars. They only expanded a bit, but this time we're actually going to see something very interesting happen. Now, Zoo, who, in the last video, they set up this whole overseas territory here. They basically asked the people, hey, which way should we go? And no one can agree on it. And Zeus, seeing what happened here in Rusuni, is basically going to be like, okay, we're going to look at all these areas and see which would be the best to, colonize. So they send out two groups, two exploration groups to inform the actual government about the cities. The first group goes from Azkajal over here to Finiad. As you can see, they just go over to it and document it for a couple days. Meanwhile, the other group goes from Ugansal, crossing over this river, and right as they are about to enter the major city, they see Vortocrossian troops, just block their way. They say, hey, this is Vortocrossian land, we want you to get out of here. And of course, they send this to the government in Zusagra, and they're basically like, hey, what do we do with, these Vortocrossian guys? Do we negotiate? Do we fight? And the government basically cannot agree. So, some things happen, and somehow they end up shooting each other. Now, thankfully, not many die, it's just like 50 people out of a couple thousand. This sets the government on Zusagra on fire. Their troops have just died for no reason, all because of Vortocross. At least that's what they think. So they instantly begin to, prepare for war. And Vortocross is like, whoa, we're not ready for that. But too bad, they're gonna have to deal with it. As you can see, here we have lighter colors of both Zoo and Vortocross. This basically shows, the lands that they control, but haven't officially annexed. As you can see, there are two fronts, one over here near the city of Vangopoly, and the one over here that we just discussed that just began this whole war. The first event of this war is Zoo just making a large advance into this area of Vortocross, pushing down south to the city of Vortes, which Vortocross basically planned to make into their new capital, but also pushing up north to this city. Now, Vortocross wasn't really prepared, so, they get pushed back a lot. But over here, they actually managed to defend. The city of Vangopoly is one of, the biggest in this whole region. Only smaller than Vortes and Zusagra, so it's the third biggest city. And of course, Vortocross wouldn't dare to lose it. So they set up a lot of defenses, and they managed to push Zoo back. A lot. All the way to this river. But this isn't a big deal for Zoo, as, they don't really care about the city of Vangopoly. Their main focus is on this peninsula. Speaking of, they have just taken over this major city. Anyways, we see Warcross make a slight pushback in the south because, Zhu was preoccupied with taking over Gufian. Anyways, as you can see, Warcross is doing considerably well in this war, though they have lost this front. But, there's still hope. Until there isn't. The city of Vortes basically just rebels because they don't want to be part of Voracross. And Voracross is just shocked by this. Sue makes use of this little, scuffle to basically almost kick out Voracross. But Voracross makes a push past this river, threatening Misan that leads to Zoo, backing off and allowing for Autocross to take this area back. Now at this point, Zoo is kind of like asking Autocross, hey, if you just allow us to take the city of Gufian, we'll let you do whatever you want, okay? And Autocross thinks about it, and they choose to do it because this area wasn't really top priority. Vortes is. So yeah, we're actually going to see a peace treaty for this war pretty early on. Anyways, here is the peace treaty. As you can see, Voracross has gained but also lost some land. Mainly in Vortes. These rebels managed to hold on really well and Voracross just gave up. Meanwhile, Zoo just got, what they wanted, aka this major city, and Voracross just gained a bit more land in Vangopoly. So yeah, overall this is a small loss for Voracross. But it is okay, because Voracross had a lot of other plans, mainly expansion down south. You see, Voracross's main, goal isn't like taking over Vortes. That's like a temporary goal. Voracross's main goal is to control all of this area. This is like a subsection within the Flanonian Lake, and Voracross has been obsessed with taking it over. That's why they split from Rasuni. So yeah, we quickly see Voracross expand, and they set up many overseas territories. One right down south of Vortes, which like scares them. One over here towards this major city, and they overall just expand in this area. Anyways, moving away from these three, we're actually going back to the Bay of Vanzig, more specifically to this country. Faunito has been, they haven't really done much after splitting off from Hoisalu, aside from expand a bit here last video. But today we're actually going to see them, establish really friendly relations with Rasuni. Basically, Faunito and Rasuni just become allies. The leaders of these two are just like super friendly, so good for them. Anyways, Faunito will actually expand a lot down here, wanting to get in touch with Rasuni, which they managed to, get in touch and stuff. They also just thicken out their borders here, making them look a lot more, big. And their final expansion will be taking over this small major city. Anyways, we see Rasuni expand a lot down here, mainly because they want to be a rival of Hoisalu. And this really angers Yizuni. It's like, hey, I really wanted this land. Rasuni's like, okay, sorry, can we like agree to split it up? Like, along this river? And Yizuni's like, okay, maybe. They are like really mad, but they have no reason to be mad. Anyways, the two basically choose to split up this land along this river, except Rasuni gets a couple more territories out of it. God damn it, I cannot speak. Meanwhile, Yizuni takes over this area. Now, Yizuni is like really mad at Rasuni, again, for no reason, and they basically think, hey, if we ally with Hoisalu and secure funding, we'll be able to invade Rasuni. Which is a very stupid idea, because Rasuni is like 2 times stronger than them. So everyone, thinks, Yuzuni isn't going to invade. Like, everyone thinks that, because invading, again, would be super dumb of them. And even they know that. So yeah, they aren't going to invade. Are you kidding me? So yes, Yuzuni does invade Rasuni. I know, it's very dumb. And Rasune's like, is this a joke? Are you making fun of me? And Yuzuni's like, just staring into them, like, into their eyes, like, completely serious about this. So yeah, we basically see what happens when you make a stupid decision, and that is stupid consequences. Rasuni basically kicks Yuzuni completely out of their country and then just begins making a full-on spearhead towards the capital. And, the rulers of Yuzuni are like trembling, they're crying, all that stuff. And yeah, Rasuni basically takes it over. They jail the people and, basically like, this was stupid, don't do it again. Anyways, all that we see is Rasuni just takes a bit of land from Yuzuni. It's just a small bit of land, so no one's really angry about this, other than the rulers who are in prison right now. Anyways, back to Faunito and Bordercross, they basically choose to like split this area in half. And as you can see, Faunito has become very strong because Bordercross didn't really take that much land. But because Faunito expanded so fast, they're actually going to have a rebellion. That's right, in this small city, a rebellion basically starts out of nowhere for, again, no real reason. They just take all this land and demand independence, demanding all of this land, which Faunito is obviously like, what? No, we're not giving you all of that. And then the rebels just take all of that. And yeah, the rebels basically keep pushing toward the capital, and Faunito's like, okay, we'll give you independence, we'll give you independence. So yeah, we're going to see this country just gain independence. Good for them. So yeah, we have this country appearing. Nothing much, they just exist. Oh yeah, since he probably forgot to mention, these guys are called Ramiandu. And this country is so small, we're just gonna call them by the name of their capital. Speaking of, let me add the capitals really quickly. Anyways, back up here to Waisalu. We're actually going to see something very strange happen. Now, Waisalu really didn't have any instability before, aside from, when they collapsed all the way back when. But ever since, they haven't really expanded a lot. I mean, they have, but it's not enough to destabilize them. So they have been pretty stable. But recently, their stability has gone really, really low. And with that, we're actually going to see many rebellions happen. Now, these rebellions aren't actually like separatist movements, but they're actually like trying to overthrow the government. Not because the government is bad, but because these guys have another ideology. And it's not really like anything radical. It's more so just, hey, we want to go back to how, it was before. Remember when anarchy, when we lived in semi-anarchy? That was fun. Maybe we could go back to that somehow. Yeah, that's basically what these rebels want. And, they take the capital and basically they just take over the whole country. So yeah, we basically see nothing happen. I mean, it is just a government overthrow. But this does remind me to add ideologies. Okay, so before I explain this, I want to say that all of these ideologies are just offshoots of democracy. Like, every country is democratic. Despite me having said that the rebels in Vaisalu were anarchists, they actually aren't. They are just like rebels with very liberal values. It's not the semi-anarchy, that's basically all around Sabor. It's something between democracy and this. That's what Ramiandu has, and that's what Epertania has. Bordercross has very socialist values, which again is just democracy with leftist values. Ursuni, Paunito, and Arisuni have right values, and the blue ones, they're just like democracies. They're at the center, whatever the people want can be had, whatever the people vote for gets installed into office. It's the same for like all these other countries, except most of their people are, liberal or right or left. These guys are just, a mix of everything, or center, something like that. Anyways, bye-bye to the ideologies later for now. Anyways, for the final event of this video, we're basically going to see a country form over here, named Flanonia. Now, if you remember what I said about, how the first war started between Zoo and Voracross, sorry for the stutters, we basically saw Zoo send an exploration group to this city to see whether it was worth taking. The war really took the attention, off of Finiad, which also is a very populated city, I want that to be known. So this country was just able to form all willy-nilly. And, they don't do much, they expand down south, and they also center themselves around this river and all of this land. Now, Zoo is very angry about this because they were literally right about to expand into this area, which Flanonia has now taken. So they're basically going to retaliate by expanding in that direction and antagonizing them. Very good move. Very good move indeed, Zoo. Now, thankfully, war is avoided because no one in Zoo wants to fight again. I mean, you literally just had a war here, and what did you get? This area? Why does that even matter? So yeah, Zoo will hold off from invading Flanonia for now, but in the future, they are definitely planning to take them. Okay, everyone, never mind, this isn't the last event of the video. This is... I totally forgot about this guy. But we're gonna have them expand south a lot. This river, as you can see, is very good, and they basically just choose to sail around it and establish a country around it, blah, blah, blah. As you can see, they basically just become really big in this area, so good for them. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe and stick around for more. And ignore the fact that I have said this at the beginning. Bye bye!